Achaemenian, and Anatolian traditions are felicitously merged. Other treasures found in the tumuli include delicately wrought silver bowls inlaid with gold, libation bowls with everted rims of the kind that may well have been used at a symposium, a plate made of jasper, decorative ladles, a highly elaborate bronze incense burner, and a necklace with acorn pendants, a popular motif in ancient jewellery from the Mediterranean and Near East. The Lydian language is primarily known to us from a mixture of coin inscriptions, graffiti, and a number of longer inscriptions which survive from the 5th and 4th centuries BC, when the Lydians were under the yoke of Persian imperialism. The vast majority of these were found in or around the capital of Sardis, and are most often funerary in nature. Linguists have had considerable difficulty in categorizing Lydian. Whilst it is clearly an Indo-European language, and a part of the Anatolian language family, it possesses a number of features which are absent in other Anatolian languages, which may or may not be explained as the preservation of archaic language elements in Lydian, or linguistic developments which are unique to Lydian. Attempts to align the language with the better-known Late Hittite or Luvian languages have been somewhat inconclusive, and the classification of Lydian therefore remains a subject of debate. The discovery of the Sardis bilingual inscription in 1917, a funerary inscription in both Lydian and Aramaic, was a Rosetta Stone moment for Lydian. It was this artifact that allowed German Orientalist Enno Littmann to decipher the Lydian script in 1916, eventually leading to the translation of unilingual texts. The Lydian script itself is related to the Greek alphabet, and like the Greek alphabet, was derived from the Phoenician alphabet. Most often spaces were used to denote gaps between words, although dots were also used. Intriguingly, quotation marks were denoted by a triangle, something which is actually unique to Lydian. The Lydians were polytheistic, worshipping a diverse pantheon of gods and goddesses who reflected not only their Western Anatolian character, but also the cultural influences of neighbouring peoples. The Lydians adopted many Greek deities, placing them alongside their own native Anatolian gods and goddesses. In a similar vein, some Anatolian deities were also worshipped by the Greeks. Adoption of divinities was a fluid affair. Croesus, for example, was known to have made offerings to the oracle at Delphi and Didyma, but apparently did not import the Greek god to his native land, as no temple to Apollo has been found. Amongst the Lydian pantheon, the goddesses are best known to us. Chief amongst these was Artemis, the Lydian reflex of the Greek goddess Artemis, who appears to have been considered as the head of the pantheon. The goddess of wild nature and protector of the dead, Artemis also bears similarities to the Phrygian mother goddess Mater Kubaleia. Her worship was widespread and well documented, including offerings presented to her by Croesus and a number of temples and sanctuaries at Ephesus, Sardis, the royal burial area of Bin Tepe, and on the southern shore of Lake Gygia. Artemis's daughter, Kupharwas, was a goddess of divine frenzy. It is to her that the small shrine found in the gold refinery district of Sardis was dedicated. A Niskos from around 400 BC, found in Sardis, displays divine mother and daughter, accompanied by a deer and lion. Another major goddess of Anatolian origin was Cybele, or Kuvarva, an Anatolian mother goddess known to the Phrygians as Mater Kubaleia. Often depicted as a corpulent female figure accompanied by lions, Cybele's worship spread westwards via Greek colonists in Anatolia, eventually entering the Roman pantheon as Magna Mater, or Great Mother. Interestingly, Roman authors appear to have reinvented her as a Trojan goddess, a nod to the legendary origins of the Roman people and the mythological hero Aeneas. The goddess known as Kore is not attested during the period of Lydian independence, but was closely associated with the Greek Persephone. We know little of Kore, other than that games were held in her honour in the capital of Sardis, and that her imagery was used on Lydian coinage, celebrating the formation of alliances with neighbouring cities. There are a number of Lydian gods who are also known to us. The Lydian reflex of the Greek father of the gods Zeus was known as Lus or Lefs. Like Zeus, Luz was a storm god. And like Zeus, he was not the head of the pantheon, nor the most powerful deity. Despite it being unclear if a sanctuary to Luz existed in Sardis, many references to the storm god have been found on pottery fragments and coinage. It may also be the case that Lydia was considered to have been the legendary birthplace of Luz. The Greek god Apollo was certainly venerated by Lydian kings, as we know of Gyges, Alyattes and Croesus sending sumptuous offerings to the god's sanctuaries at Delphi and Didyma, including a lion made of gold. Although as yet undiscovered, it is thought that the close relationship of Lydian monarchs with the cult of Apollo would have surely meant that there was a sizable sanctuary in Sardis. Bacchae is the Lydian version of Bacchus or Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry. Coinage depicting him has been found from the Roman period, although an earlier 6th century Niskos appears to show some of his infamous satyrs. Hermes may also have been venerated in Lydia, although it is only known from a fragmentary verse by the 6th century Ephesian poet Hipponax. Hermes, dog throttler, Candaules in Maeonian, companion of thieves, come give me a hand. Hermes was certainly considered to be god of thieves amongst other things. Ritual sacrifices involving puppies found in excavations at Sardis may therefore have been offerings to Hermes. Amongst the Lydians there appear to have existed a number of clerical offices. The vast majority of these were priests and priestesses, known in the Lydian tongue as Carways, of whom there would have no doubt been a considerable number. These priests ministered to the various temples and sanctuaries throughout Lydia.
คุณชอบของมือสองของวินเทจของแรจากญี่ปุ่นหรือเปล่า
Harry Turtledove, king of alternate history, ruler of the what if, titan of timelines. He made that book about the South getting a bunch of AKs during the Civil War. It's a time-honored tradition on this channel to talk about Turtledove. Talk is probably